Raven Tactical. We're going to talk about the rise and fall of empires. So the rise and fall of empires, right? And when you think about it this way, right? All empires in the history of this world have pretty much the same path. And there's a couple books written on it. And some people have a 5-step or a 7-step rise of empires. And I'll make a whiteboard video on the different steps. But I'm just going to do a brief thing on it. And hang on one second. It's super icy here. And when you look at it, you look at Rome, Greek, Persia. You even look at like Egypt and Babylon, and you could even look throughout history, all these things. Everyone's like, well, the last empire was Rome. No. Rome was a empire, and Rome is a great example of how it died. Similar to every other empire. You have things like England was a huge powerhouse. Especially up until World War II. England was a huge empire, stretched everywhere. We fought them, we defeated them. And I think the defeat they lost when we beat them started the decline to their empire. They started losing colonies and everything else. And that England probably had a fairly large empire at that point. And then we come to America, right? America is kind of a younger country in comparison. But we follow the same path. I think our rise to empire is a lot faster than, let's say, most countries. Because some countries probably spent a couple hundred years maybe getting to a point before they were considered an empire. And in some cases, I guess you could say the same thing before we were America. But America as an empire, our rise was pretty cool. We had basically God-backed America for the first 100 years. Our founders were very, very, very much believers for the most part. And a lot of our founders were based this country in, Christian values and a Christian value system. And a lot of our original laws were written similar to don't think that the industrial sabotage you're seeing that's going around last year with the food plants isn't Russian sabotage, or all the substations that are getting knocked out now isn't some sort of industrial sabotage, well then I would probably say that you need to wake up. These are all things that are part of a decline. We can't protect ourselves anymore. Our country can't protect us. I mean, the only thing saving us right now is the fact that we, again, have two oceans. But you have a superpower that's arising in China. They're amassing stuff on their southern border. We've allowed them to purchase land, which is insane that you would allow an outsider to buy land on your property. What they've built and they've purchased, and they now own huge chunks of land, bases, air bases, all this stuff. They own radio towers. It's insane as we decline and fall apart. And there's really nothing that can save a dying empire. I mean, other than God himself. But you're getting a front seat to an empire that is rapidly dying now. We're seeing everything collapse and fail. Infrastructure's dead. We can't protect the grid, so that's dying. And what's it going to take that we finally lose this total empire? Well, our reach is gone. And what are you going to see in about 5 minutes or a couple years? Well, you're going to see us get involved in another war that we basically get our asses handed to us. And I think that's the Ukraine war. If we actually go hot in Ukraine, you're going to see America lose. And we've already lost several wars. We've lost most wars since World War II. But we're going to lose badly. And I don't mean global nuclear war. I think that's really, the cards are off the table on that. I think you might see a strategic one or an EMP style one. Because what does this country run itself on and value itself? Electricity and power. And if this country loses power for even 12 hours, it's mass panic. Anyways, I'll show a little bit more of the different stages of, empire died on a whiteboard. And I'll show you where I think we're at. We're at the dying part. We're at the part where, we're at the part that I wish we weren't. I wish we could all come together. I wish we weren't so divided, but it is. And the division is part of it too. I mean, as much as Lincoln said this house in this country would probably stand against anything, which we did, but we're so divided now that we're going to be a fight itself. And that's how we lose. We're crumbling in ourselves, and we are basically open to attack now. So it's Raven Tactical out. Have a great day.